Good evening, everyone. Good evening. If you are joining us for the first time today, my name is Sharon Stroy. I am the director of the Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation Center at Rutgers University, Newark. And you are joining us for the sixth annual National Day of Racial Healing. The National Day of Racial Healing was started in 2017 by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation to bring communities, individuals, companies, and institutions together to where we can spend the day in having conversations, dialogue about our own shared humanity, how we are one people trying to deal with the issues of systemic and institutional racism. The TRHT Center at Rutgers University, Newark is one of 55 across the country. We were part of the inaugural 10 cohort in 2017 to host a campus center. And so tonight we are concluding our full day of activities. This morning we opened the day with opening remarks from the Dean, Charles Minifield, the Dean for the School of Public Affairs and Administration, my co-chair committee members for this day, Donna Walker-Kuhn and Erica Nigel, and we had pre-recording remarks from Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver. At noon, we had a panel of professionals who talked about public engagement in healing, measuring impact and sustainability. This afternoon, we got a chance to hear from students, sharing us with their stories from the pandemic and how they manage their healing. And so tonight, as we do every year when we celebrate the National Day of Racial Healing, we will conclude this evening with the Healing Sounds of Newark, where students, community residents, people from different locations will join us in spoken word, music, and artistic and videos. And so it is my pleasure to open up our final event for the evening, the Healing Sounds of Newark. The Healing Sounds of Newark is a community event that celebrates the cultural diverse artists through spoken word and or musical performance. As I stated, it is our annual closing event for the National Day of Racial Healing. The performers are multi-ethnic, multi-generational, and diverse identity backgrounds. It is my pleasure to introduce you your host for tonight, Tyreek Roland. Tyreek is a mentor, social justice activist, and a motivational speaker. He was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey. He graduated cum laude from Rutgers University, Newark, with a bachelor's degree in social work and a minor in social justice. He is currently pursuing a graduate degree in public administration in the School of Public Affairs and Administration at Rutgers University, Newark. Tyreek is co-founder of Standing for Change, which provides mentoring, tutoring, and motivational speaking services for inner city youth. Tyreek serves as an HLLC Scholar Alumni. HLLC stands for the Honors Living Learning Community at Rutgers University, Newark, where he is a member of initiatives such as the Truth, Racial Healing, Transformation, the Initiative for Education and Justice, the RISE program, and has been an active participant in the Healing Sounds of Newark since its inception. He is also serving as the academic counselor for the New Jersey STEP Mountain View Community Program, a program that assists formerly incarcerated individuals to becoming students, providing students who are previously incarcerated with a higher education. Tyreek knows all about negative psychological and emotional effects that oppression, discrimination, and racism inflicts on individuals. He now uses his platform to speak for those who are voiceless and marginalized. Tyreek's passion and current work concentrates on shifting and changing negative perspectives of minorities and others that are devalued by society. His desire and dedication is to rise self-awareness towards the residual effects of racism, oppression, and incarceration. There is one thing that is missing from Tyreek's bio. Tyreek has also served on national panels for the Association of American Colleges and Universities. He has participated in law school classes as a guest speaker and co-facilitator. He has attended conferences to move the needle forward to a just society and changing the narrative. It is my pleasure to bring to the screen and your host tonight for Healing Sounds of Newark, Tyreek Roland.
Thank you, Director Stroy. Thank you so much for everything. Again, how you doing, everyone? My name is Tyreek Roland, and I'll be the host for the Healing Sounds of Newark. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, the Healing Sounds of Newark is a free community event that aims to celebrate and support local and global artists while fostering a multitude forms of art. So we'll just jump right in it. I'm going to be introducing Anya Dillard, who I've got an opportunity to know over the past couple of months. She's in a program that I'm a part of called HLLC, a wonderful, amazing talent. Anya Dillard is an 18-year-old activist, philanthropist, and social entrepreneur and aspiring filmmaker. She is also the founder of the Next Gen Come Up, a 501(c) organization dedicated to encouraging youth to explore activism, pursue community service, and raise awareness through art. Though Anya has been a social political change maker since she was 12, she started her very first charity initiative when she was 5 years old. Since 2008, Anya's Holiday Gift Giving Initiative has raised thousands of dollars annually to provide clothes, undergarments, toys, musical instruments, and more to children suffering from severe physical and neurological disabilities. In her community, Anya is best known for contributing to the largest civil rights demonstration in her town's history, gathering an audience of over 3,000 people, delivering a speech that received over 26,000 views via social media, helping to organize her town's own first ever Juneteenth celebration, and being elected president of the first all-female, all-POC student council cabinet in her high school's history. As a result of her extensive activist work, Anya has been featured by countless media publications, including the Washington Post, CNN, Elle, 17, and Glamour magazine. She has also received countless honors and awards, including the Ulta Beauty Muse 100 Award, the 2020 Conversationalist Human Rights Award, and the NJACS Student Leader of the Year Award. She's an honors college and HLSA student at Rutgers University, Newark, and has goals to leave behind a legacy as a creative change agent by using her creativity and progressive mindset to heighten the prevalence of empowering characters and narratives of colors in film, television, and media. Welcome, Anya.
Revolutionary. Because you are revolutionary.
Oftentimes, because Gen Z is viewed as like rowdy, confused, and just want to complain about everything, we're not taken seriously, especially when it comes to expressing our political views.
About to march down to City Hall, trying to get rid of a bill that allows officers to review body cam footage before they give their statement. No justice, no peace.
My name is Anya Dillard. I'm 18 years old, and I'm an activist, social entrepreneur, and the founder of the Next Gen Come Up. I started the Next Gen Come Up in 2018, a nonprofit organization dedicated to encouraging youth to pursue activism, get involved in community service, and raise awareness through creating thought-provoking works of art. I wanted to create a space for other young people to harness their inner voice and understand that they have a right to have opinions, they have a right to share those opinions, and they have a right to be heard. My journey in activism started with STEM. Summer before I went to junior high, I got nominated to attend a STEM program for the gifted, and I kept noticing that I was often the only black girl in a room, and I didn't understand why, because so many of my girlfriends that looked like me were into STEM and were like quick whips and were great with science. Once I started taking closer looks at those things, I realized just how big of a role race played in not just my life, but the lives of people that look like me all over the world. And that's when I really started trying to figure out how I could best allocate my talents, my voice, and my resources to getting people my age inspired to talk about these kinds of things. And my parents led me me to becoming a part of the Black Girls Lead Academy that's geared towards empowering Black women. And before that, I never really thought of being an entrepreneur in any sense, but being around so many people who had done it, I saw it. I saw young girls with their names on things that were making real differences and that were getting other young people involved.
Join us! Today is City Hall. We will be marching to City Hall today, fighting for Black liberation. Come join us. Thank you.
A couple days after the George Floyd video went viral, I got a call from one of my friends and she said, "Hey, we gotta do something." And I was like, absolutely. And at that point, we were trying to host an event within like a 6-day span. But the outpour of support that we got from the community was insane.
I am fighting for my little brother. I'm fighting for my father, for my uncle, for my cousin.
The crowd that ultimately ended up showing up comprised of over 3,000 people, which was something that we would have never conceptualized was even possible.
Say his name. Say his name.
I always prided myself on being able to kind of hold my emotions and move forward in action rather than grief. But watching the George Floyd video was one of those moments where I had to take a beat and I had to stop and I had to allow myself to realize that it was becoming a way too habitual for me to see these horrendous things and to automatically just feel like I have to do something, I have to get this to someone, I have to do instead of just taking a moment to feel and to be human about it. And I think that a lot of young Black people have been forced to do that, to get into that habit of trying their best to not internalize things and to just become desensitized, and we don't even realize that on the back end, it's just hurting us more internally. I think that it's super important to welcome people into spaces that aren't just awareness breeding, but that are light, are joyous, are celebratory, even in times where we're talking about serious topics, because those are the most transformative kinds of spaces, especially for young people. After the June 6th protest that took place in my town occurred, the group of students that ultimately succeeded in putting that event together became the West Orange Youth Caucus. And we decided that coming off the cusp of such a monumentous event in the community, it was important for us to continue and keep on that momentum. So we started to investigate how we would go about putting on a Juneteenth celebration. It was important that we had these powerful and empowering representations of African American culture in our everyday lives and in our national holiday spectrum, and give people something that on the flip side was purely meant to breed joy and breed celebration and breed happiness.
This is a loving space, so please don't feel nervous about coming up here and sharing yourself. I'm gonna just hand it off.
Ultimately, my goal is to continue encouraging young Black girls to feel that they have the right to advocate for themselves, to stand up for themselves, to voice their opinions, and to take over spaces, to enter rooms and not feel ashamed.
Hello everyone, I am Jasmine Hernandez. This is out of my comfort zone. If we're not willing to stand up and get out of our comfort zone, we will never have the change that we are striving for.
I think that it's super easy to fall into the mindset of thinking you don't have enough power to make a difference in the community. Not every contribution needs to be a massive, groundbreaking event. I think that the more people understand that there are little ways you can contribute to the movement throughout your life, the more comfortable people will get with the idea of being advocates in their everyday practices.
Hi everybody, my name is Anya Dillard. I am so happy to be here today, and I am so thrilled to be sharing a panel with the other amazing performers that are going to bless you all tonight. So I'm so grateful to be here, and I wanted to close out with a piece that I wrote during my first semester as a HLSE scholar at Rutgers Newark. And it was a part of a project that we were all assigned to do, where we delved into an identity of ours, and it was called our I Am assignment. And I titled mine The Powerfully Joyous Visionary. So I hope you all enjoy. When I dare to be powerful, I'm the girl that would rather die behind a megaphone than allow anyone's hatred to silence me. The streets become my solace, the strangers beside me become family. The echoes of drum beats swell in my chest, and the chants of my comrades seem to shake the foundations of the very buildings we march between. Walking proudly in my truth, surrounded by rainbows and power fists, is where I feel free. Free to rejoice despite my pain, free to celebrate despite my rage, free to scream at the top of my lungs, free to dance in the center of traffic. I am liberated here. A walking inferno, warming all that is closest to it and daring anyone to threaten the freedom with which it burns. When I dare to be powerful, I'm reminded of my younger self, of the girl that began her radical journey when she was just 5 years old. The girl that led every initiative she laid her hands on with compassion and strived to create a world that was indeed just for everyone. That little girl grew up to be a woman that could lead a march, keynote speak to thousands, and slay an interview with Elle magazine on the same day. A woman that could pick up her blazer from the cleaners, preach to CNN about Black liberation, and host the cookout on the same day. A woman that paints Black Lives Matter across everything and dares someone to look at her sideways. When I dare to be powerful, I am assured that I can accomplish anything, even though many have tried to convince me otherwise. Most laugh at my nerve, my melanin, my age, my gender. Those who don't discredit me in other ways, like for my ambition, intellect, grit, etc. They wonder, who does this little lady think she is? To which many others answer, just another angry Black woman trying to make headlines. But no one ever wants to quote the angry Black woman when she's joyous, now do they? See, because when I dare to be joyous, I'm my mother's daughter. The girl whose laughter could fill up an entire room, everyone's glass, and then some. The girl whose crooked smile causes yours, whose shrill greetings could wake the sleepiest of heads, and whose hair becomes a spinning weapon on every dance floor. The girl who still dances around in her room, PJs and all, singing to TLC till 1 a.m. When I dare to be joyous, I'm the clown, the hugger, the motivator, the girl that everyone calls big sis, even when she's the youngest in the group chat. When I dare to be joyous, I'm the girl that falls in love, the girl that encourages everyone to celebrate their wins, the girl that's addicted to nostalgia, seeks adventure, and thanks her ancestors for every damn thing. When I dare to be joyous, I'm the girl who welcomes all that breathes light into this life. Darkness has no home where she resides, and stories, life lessons, and memories are the most valuable forms of currency there. When I dare to be joyous, I'm the girl that dreams of telling my children stories about you all. But I'm also overprotective because joy is not a luxury I have the freedom to take for granted. It's something that I protect with my every living breath, something that my ancestor died trying to preserve. The world has tried to steal this joy from me so many times. It threatens to each and every day, but I never let it. No matter how hard it is to hold on, no matter how long the days get or how much my heart aches, I smile. I laugh. I dance. My brothers and sisters smile and laugh and dance, praying that our joy will heal our wounds, and it often does. Because Black joy is magic. It is what makes me feel capable of all things. It is timeless yet ever fleeting. It is what protects us when we are the most vulnerable and strengthens us even when we're at war. Joy is what breeds vision, hope, and possibility. It's what makes creation so colorfully fulfilling. It is what makes visionaries so powerful. And when I dare to be a visionary, I'm my father's daughter. The camera lens, pen, or paper becomes my megaphone. The narratives I create become my chants, and the images that follow swell across screens, birthing vivid, morphed realities, some resembling our own and others resembling all that could be. I've always been a firm believer that change is ours to create, and as creatives, there's no limit to what we declare is possible. No matter where I am or what I'm going through, I'm the girl that utilizes her visionary talent to spark those conversations. I'm the girl that believes in the power of representation and wants to pioneer it in so many ways. I'm the girl that cherishes her ambition, protects her joy at all costs, and desires to help create the world that the future generations of this country deserve.
But drive, power, and joy like mine don't come without fear. Fear of failure, fear of heartbreak, fear of loss, fear of sacrifice. The grasp of fear alone can be crippling enough to destroy all of one's hopes and dreams. But whenever I begin to feel fear, I remember that younger version of me, the version that moved forth from the heart and grew to be that woman that would put her hand to the fire if it meant helping someone in need. I remember what it means to be a Black woman, what it means to be strong, to love, to feel, to change, to overcome, to win. I remember what being powerful really means to me. And in the words of Audre Lorde, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strengths in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. Thank you.
Wow, Anya, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just want to take a quick little second because I'm still stuck, and unfortunately, I've been charged with performing behind you. So thank you for inspiring me, right, to speak on this piece that I'm about to speak on. Because I was kind of confused about what I wanted to speak about, right? But just hearing you talk about, daring to be joyous and powerful, I've decided what I want to speak about. And this piece is called Genocide Survivor. And it's the residual effect from slavery, oppression, discrimination, and being previously incarcerated and having to overcome some of the things that I've had to overcome, as well as many people, many men, many women in my community. When we talk about healing in action, the impact and integration, I think that this piece kind of talks to it. So I'll go. I'm a voice for the people, but I'm really here to put my hood on. And that's why I walk around with my hood on, to remind myself, no matter how far I go, know how much education I get, I can still be viewed as Trayvon, young, Black, and dangerous. However, there are exceptions when we are accepted. For example, an athlete or entertainer, they'll rock our jersey, sit front row, scream our name and attend our shows, and even pretend to respect us when we're young, Black, and famous. So with that being said, I'm going to try my best with this delivery, because when a brother stand up and speak his mind, they miss his message and get it confused for anger. Since 1619, we've been under construction within a system that's constructed and designed for our destruction, which makes it hard to function because of past repercussions, like to your backside getting 100 lashes. And he ain't done yet because master's still gonna pour salt in your gashes. And even worse, over a dinner that we prepared and served, him, his friends, and family would sit back laughing at all the violence and torture happening. They made it a crime to want to be free and would lynch us if we run. When we first began to vote and get in office, the Klan killed us because we won. The plan was and still is to separate the mothers, daughters, fathers, and break the sun. Our blood remains stained on Tobacco Road, and them stories will never be told. We died from exhaustion on them fields, working weeks in the sun. And yet they justify police brutality like we deserve to be beaten or something. Looking at us crazy and sending tanks to all Black rallies like we ain't supposed to be speaking or something. This is what we deal with every day. I'm teaching you something. But I am standing for a change and here to keep the streets from flunking. This is for the young brother fighting to get his family out by having a mean crossover and jumper. And the sister going to school, working multiple jobs, trying to keep them kids from hunger. I try my best to be optimistic, and I sit back and wonder if things will ever really change. And then I remember those names: Michael Brown, Philando Castile, Dominique Hagan, how they were all killed by white cops in that trial. Every officer got read back not guilty statements. The 13th Amendment proves that we can still be slave men. And every movement that our leaders started, you infiltrated and replaced it to uphold capitalism and white supremacy, which is America's real and true #1 enemy. But we still stand in Black excellence. How we managed to fight through all adversities and keep on striving. My brothers and sisters, please be proud. Hold your head up higher. You are a genocide survivor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is my piece, genocide survivor. So we'll move on to our next artist, who's my friend. I've got the opportunity to know as well. Chino. Chino was a freshman at Rutgers University in Newark. He is majoring in finance at Rutgers Business School and minoring in social justice as a part of Rutgers Newark's Revolutionary Honors Living and Learning Community. Chino has finished his fall semester on the Dean's List with a GPA of 3.81. I want to be correct with that. 3.81. While also being a member of the men's basketball team. Chino is currently creating a student organization at Rutgers Newark that will connect Black students and help them reach their academic and professional goals. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, my brother, Chino.
Thank you, Tyreek, for that crazy introduction. Am I on screen right now? My whole screen just went black. I'm back now, I think. All right, so thank you, Tyreek, for that introduction. I'm gonna try to follow the two beautiful acts by Anya and Tyreek. I'm just thankful I get to know them both personally in real life. Those are two tremendous people who've already changed my life, and I just met them this year, so I'm just grateful for that. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak to you all. So here we go. The name of my poem is Who Am I? Who am I? I was born to Nigerian parents in 2003. I was raised in the town of Bloomfield, New Jersey. At a young age, I learned to move with truth and grace, solid to the core, even in the midst of fake. I'm a product of patience, perseverance, practice, and prayer. The 4 P's that are embedded in me, passed along from the roots of my family tree. But who am I, really? I'm a Black man in America, so the cliche goes. I choose to think for myself, singing to my own song. I choose to build my wealth, becoming physically and mentally strong. Through my 2 eyes, I see, observe, and learn how to play America's game. NBC, Fox, CNN, they're all the same, pushing their agendas, compartmentalizing our brains. They feed us lies and they seek to divide. They present their opinions as facts, hoping that I'm lost enough just to absorb and react. Instead, I seek the truth. But what's truly true? What's true to me or what's true to you? I look in the mirror and ask if things will ever change, if my brothers and sisters' efforts are in vain. Then I look back on the kings and queens who were slain, maimed, and shamed. Ida B. Wells, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, decades later, and we still remember their names. Dr. King told us that if we can't fly, then run. And if we can't run, then walk. And if we can't walk, then crawl. But it seems like no matter how far we travel, we can never escape these shackles. No, not the physical, but the mental battle. You see, these chains are no longer around our necks and ankles, but they still obstruct, restrict, and conflict our relationships and what we deem as able. Tearing down the next man, posting guns on Instagram, cashing out on designers that don't give a damn what Black rapper funds their racist brand. Then we poison our bodies with drugs, GMOs, and soda cans and repeat the cycle till we've abused and outplayed our hands. You see, I would love to talk about healing and reparations, but was there ever reconciliation? If you skip steps when building, the house will crumble, and we wonder why every corner of this nation continues to rumble, fumble, and stumble. So please stop with the social media posts and street names and analyze your own heart for a change. Maybe, just maybe, you'll evolve into something new or choose to stay the same. Either way, I guess my skin color still puts me at a disadvantage. But even if the odds are stacked against me, I still bet on myself and double down. But how long before my luck runs out? Father God, hold me close. Don't let me drown. Thank you.
Chino, thank you, my brother. Thank you. I will also double down on you too. So I think that we're waiting for another artist. She's logging on. So I'll do one more piece until she's ready, and then we'll continue with the show, if that's okay. I forget the name of it, so I'll just go. I'm here to take a stance. I need one chance. It's dark, I'm looking for the light, I need one glance. You ever been so hungry your stomach got the cramps? Embarrassed in the line cause mom's paying with stamps? I'm here to touch you people. Let me hold your hand. My cousin said his trap or die, he dealing hand to hand. The judge gave him life, said it was irredeemable, and the jury found him guilty. I guess they agreed with him. And the closest he ever gonna see his kids is when he dreaming. Rest in peace, Oogie. And if I am supposed to be innocent before proven guilty, then why would I have a bail? The law requires me to be judged by a jury of my own peers, but sitting from this defense stand makes it hard to tell. Because 9 out of 12 won't look like we. And well, for the other 3, just hearing those charges will make it hard for them to see the human in me. But what really burns me up, that whenever a law enforcement officer or expert is about to take the stand and testify, they lie. See, rather than tell the truth that will expose their bogus investigation and reveal all our rights they violated, they are trained to say, I do not recall. I have the right to meet my accuser and challenge that the evidence was fruit from a poisonous tree. But Judge Maker made that confidential informant inadmissible, and I'm sitting back in my seat thinking, damn, how could this be? Shackled and chained, living in mental bondage and fear, they did our ancestors the same. In the 1500s, they named the slave ship Jesus, told our people the Messiah was coming, held them captive and made them slaves. In the 1500s, they named the slave ship Jesus, told our people the Messiah was coming, held them captive and made them slaves. And Master was playing pastor behind the pulpit using the Bible to keep us in order. I guess that's why I'm struggling to believe that Christ really walked on water. When great-great-grandma been working in them fields, making your family meals and still can't rub together 2 quarters, please give us what you owe. And then let my people go. Because first you lied about 40 acres and a mule. And then once you seen black progress, you destroyed the Freedmen's Bureau. But the way you disguised it was crafty and blinding, but not surprising. I guess this is why you refuse to admit America's independence was won in a riot. Land of the free and home where the brave you're still lying. Its success was built on violence. The master of separation, and how you use trickery to make us believe the civil rights movement was only once in reintegration, when all we ever wanted was equal and equitable opportunities. How easily we forget 1956, the implementation of COINTELPRO. See, this was a time when many races decided to reunite. Together we would stand and fight against all inequalities, but we can fast forward today and we protesting just to raise minimum wage. I mean, don't we all deserve adequate pay? Quality of life with a decent living? But now my people so broken, we can care less for voting. That's what happens when you don't give us a pot to piss in. I said, but now my people are so broken, we can care less for voting. See, that's what happens when you don't give us a pot to piss in. I'm struggling, I'm conflicted. Martin said, turn the other cheek, and I'm tired of doing that. Malcolm said, an eye for an eye, yeah, I'd rather join that team. But I'll continue to walk in victory as a proud black king. After all, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna take 2 seconds to see if our next artist is on. If not, then we'll continue the show and move on and add her when she does. How about we just move on? So we'll go to our next artist. Oh, she is here. Okay, let's go. Perfect timing. So my sister, my friend, I'm going to introduce her. Her name is Ebony Bug. Just give me 1 second. Let me pull up her bio. Awesome. So Ebony Bug is a second-year Rutgers student who is currently majoring in public affairs and administration. Ebony started her own business in a pandemic called Created Unique, which is a brand that encourages others to authentically and uniquely be themselves in hopes that it encourages others to do the same. Since being created on June 6, 2020, she has been consistent with the goal to give back, which is why she just completed her first Teen Girl Retreat on January 2nd, 2022. She has a love for the community and wants to help, which is being cultivated by the Honors Living and Learning community here at Rutgers Newark. She works relentlessly throughout her community, partnering with different nonprofit organizations like Growing in Grace Counseling Group, the Bug Foundation, the Willie Perdikin Foundation, and much more. There's a lot more we can say about this young lady, but just know that she has a heart for the people and the smile and the spirit that lights up the room. I can definitely attest to that. If you would like to support, you can visit her website at createdunique.com or support her next partnership event, which is the Amistad Gala, which raises money to get Black history taught all year round here in New Jersey. We are thankful. She is thankful for the support so far, and as always, she wants us to remember that you are created unique, just as God intended. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome again my friend, my sister, Ebony Bug.
Hello? How are you guys? I'm so sorry. Can you guys hear me now? Please let me know if you guys can hear me now. I do apologize. Okay. So again, I do apologize for my tardiness. I do work at a middle school. I'm here in Newark, New Jersey, so I just came back. I'll be doing 2 pieces for you. The first piece is called Poetry. This safe haven of a place can hold my wildest dreams and yet my darkest secrets. Pain, saying to uncover the rap pain accumulated that had to heal the wounds of my own ego. Open, the same pain that allowed the fluorescent curtains to sway back and forth from all open window opportunities that life has set before me. Enough. I just had enough of letting the lasting pain and insecurities rule my own life. 2, I want to love, I want to live, I want to laugh. Reconsider. And to reconsider the person who I once was. Youth. Letting my youth be stripped away from even the simplest thought that entered my mind. You see, pain open enough to reconsider youth. Pain open enough to reconsider youth. Pain knows no age or gender, attacking everything in hindsight. But I refuse to let my brothers and sisters be a product of my isolation and silence. I will stand up and speak and write my poetry just so effortlessly. You see, this is my poetry. My poetry. My poetry. So that's the first piece, poetry. And then my second piece is called How Are You Doing Today? How are you doing today? I am here. A mantra of a champion, a motto of a true survivor. Yeah. Hear the rings as they boldly proclaim the truth that not only set me free, but the same truth that encourages others to do the same. They inspire and they empower and somehow invoke some type of change, a change that range among nations. Can you say that? Can you lift your chin and smile as you say and overcome, I am still here. I am still here. The most motivating times were when those words were said unto me. The same times when tears were shed, those words were declared with so much authority. I wanted to be like them, not to live their lives or tell their stories, not to bask in their admiration or be commended for my bravery, but to claim that I am simply still here, That through all of the uncertainties of life, I am secure in the fact that I am still here. In the midst of all the chaos and struggle, I am still here. A journey that unfolds with people who aren't always as pure as gold, yet I can stand firm as I respond and say, I am still here. Which I then found out, for me, that was the best response to such a confusing question. So how are you doing today? I hope that you are still here. Thank you guys for your patience, and I'm glad that I was able to be here.
Ebony, thank you so much. Thank you. Great job. I am still here. Love it. Um, Next we'll be introducing a brother who I had the pleasure of meeting, right before the show. He's an amazing brother. Jonathan Stoll, Soul Force Ones. J Soul recently released his first spoken word and hip hop mixtape, Saving the Savior. Songs explore our interconnectedness, shared humanity, and our universal spirit and soul force oneness. Tracks include remixes by music by Lauryn Hill, Tupac, DMX, my favorite of all time, Dax, and more. You can listen at soulforce.link /soul. You'll have an opportunity later on to engage with him, and he can give you more information. J Soul, otherwise known as Jonathan Stoll, founded San Jose State University's Cesar Chavez Community Action Center as an undergraduate student. At SJSU, he received bachelor degrees in economics and humanities. At Cal State East Bay, he earned a master's of public administration with a concentration in organizational change. He always works full-time at Cal State East Bay, where he oversaw the delivery of diversity programming and the facilitation of difficult conversations on equity and justice. He also organized large events featuring Kendrick Lamar, Lupe Fiasco, J. Cole, Dr. Cornel West, Angela Davis, and Kevin Hart. In 2014, Jonathan moved to Corvallis, Oregon, to design and approach community relations and neighborhood livability that facilitated collaborative partnerships and an improved relationship between Oregon State University and community stakeholders. He now serves as a director of career education at Oregon State University, where he leads 4 assistant directors in the delivery and integration of career education for 8 colleges and over 30,000 students. Jonathan is the co-host of Soul Force Ones, a podcast exploring purpose and practice in the inner workings of people and their work. He is also the co-founder of Soul Force Education, providing leadership, development, and training services to help organizations unlock the strategic benefits of diversity, equity, inclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now present to you Mr. J Soul.
So Soul Force Ones is named in acknowledgement of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said in his I Have a Dream speech that we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. This is White Light. It's track number 10 off my mixtape, Saving the Savior. You can listen to my podcast, Soul Force Ones, and my recently released mixtape at soulforceones.com. For the mixtape, you simply click on the banner ad, and it'll redirect you to the Audio Mac site. But first, a shout out to my wife and my 6 and 8-year-old daughters who are here, I believe, to support me. Hi, Satori and Ayenda. They, like me, are multiracial. My fictitious son is also multiracial. They're all a quarter white because I'm half white. Thing is, the other day, my son told me he wants to be full white. Something's not adding up. I told myself something here is just not right. For context, my father, like my grandfather and his father, were full white. But they weren't always white. They were German and Hungarian before they became white. It's a construct, but you already knew that, right? My mom's Portuguese and Indian, Goa to be exact, but was born and raised in Africa, Nairobi, Kenya to be exact. The Portuguese colonized the GOA, and my mom came here and assimilated to the ways of the USA. So yeah, I'm mixed, but mostly I've been confused and mixed up because my mom was born in Africa, making me African American, but not black. And my grandmother was born in India, but Columbus was lost. Indian, my peers asked, the feather or the dot? I didn't know it was racist at the time, so I just laughed it off. Internalized racism can work like that. I started preempting the jokes and them taking shots by referring to myself as being connected to the dots. So I'm all of it, but not really connected to any of it. Not enough of this, not enough of that. For so long, I struggled to belong. It seemed I added up to less than the sum of my parts. Maybe that's why my son wants to be white. And at first I pushed back. I wanted him to be proud of where he came from, comfortable in his own skin, happy with who he is. But after I listened and began to understand him, I began to understand why my son wants to be white. And you might be surprised to learn, but now that's something I think is quite all right. Let me explain. It started a few weeks ago when I asked my son what he wants to be when he grows up. He said, Michelle Obama said that that's the worst thing you can even ask a kid because there is no destination. We're evolving and we'll never make it because we're always becoming. He continued quoting and said, Saul Williams said, all that I am, I have been. All I have been has been a long time coming. I am becoming all that I am. I said, okay, but you're no kid. You're about to graduate. So what do you want to be? And he said, white. White? I cried. No, a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer. Who do you want to be? He said, it seems to me you want to know what I want to do. But what I do doesn't matter if I never become who I seek to be. As long as I'm black or brown, that's all they see. I don't want black power. To hell with brown pride. I want what's white. Privilege, power, and peace. White peace, I asked. He said the white dove represents peace. The peace that this country, this world was colonized and created for people like me. But when someone doesn't belong, they're a black swan or black sheep. Nightmares and crimes, violence and black eyes all occur in the black of the night. Black clouds bring rain. Particles and light disappear into black holes. Illegal drugs are sold on the black market. Hostile takeovers of companies made by black knights. Cars crash slipping on patches of black ice. Terrorists tortured at covert black sites. People who can't be trusted are blacklisted, but people are trusted for telling innocent white lies. No power and it's a blackout. Kaepernick took a knee for Black Lives Matter and Black Power and he was blackballed out. White papers share information about solutions to problems. Blackmailing someone shares information about their misdeeds causing problems. I asked, what's this all about? Why are you trying to act white? He said, I don't want to act white. That's widening eyes and whitening skin with bleaching creams, $1 billion whitening industries. He shook his head and said, I'm happy with my color and melanin. I just want to be white. How, I asked, perplexed, can you be white without having white skin? And I added with mathematic and scientific certainty, you're 1/4 white. He said, I'm more than a fraction. I don't feel white. How can you feel white? I laughed. White is a color, not a feeling. He said, no. Dick Gregory said white is an attitude. Being white is rooted in what you believe and what other people see, that this world was made by a white God for me. Okay, I said, I think I'm beginning to see. He said, let me tell you what I see. When I see white, I see clean white linen sheets, flesh-colored band-aids and privileges and pleasantries with police. I see white picket fences and black men behind black iron bars. I see inheritance and a growing gap between haves and have-nots. I see clothes clean till they're bleached like heaven, sanitary and white. I see corporate welfare and white-collar crimes, but no time. I see power. I see a country and a school system built for them and a criminal justice system built for us that keeps them out and keeps us in. I see Felicity Huffman, rich and white, gets 2 weeks, but Kelly Williams Bollard, poor and black, gets 5 years for doing the same thing, for lying for a better education for her children. But Felicity's free and Kelly's in prison with felons. Blacks who use crack are criminals, lock them up, we throw away the key. Whites who use OxyContin are patients, we give them sympathy. I see white Jesus, I see white supremacy, white unicorns and white fairy tales, teeth whitening, skin whitening, history rewritten and whitened. Maybe it's because stolen land, boarding schools, and internment camps, voter suppression, forced assimilation, Tuskegee experiments, and school segregation, slavery, black codes, and separate but equal, and Jim Crow, stopping and frisking, redlining, and redistricting have left us questioning the appropriateness of our cultures while they appropriate our cultures. He said, picture an American citizen. Who do you see? I admitted, I see white. I didn't even see me. I saw the woman who screamed, if you don't like it here, go back to where you came from. That's it, he said. Even though you and I are American citizens, they don't think we belong. Born and raised here on American soil, they only see immigrants as black and brown. As if yoga, meditation, hiking, being one with nature, vegan, vegetarianism, connecting with mind, soul, and body, eating and living healthily, and being an American was a matter of being inherently white. But before we became Twinkies and Spicks, in Africa before slave ships, in Mexico before the supermercados, in Bolivia before the Inquistadores, we were made up of 100% pure light, made up of the same particles and atoms that comprise stars and the galaxies, black holes, and sunlight. When it rains, water droplets separate the beam of white light into a spectrum of colors, a rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet light. Pilgrims, missionaries, and white saviors and white supremacists have poured down division, separating our light into colors and races. They've divided us apart to such great lengths, we've forgotten that the complete mixture of all the wavelengths that make up the visible spectrum of sunlight is white light. And that we are not only a part of the rainbow, we are the light. And the divine light shines from within us all. Like the light and oneness from which we unite, the complete mixture of the diversity of our hues, skin tones, and colors makes you, my son, and all of us white light.
My brother, J Soul, thank you so much. Right. I almost forgot that I was hosting. I was just staring until I seen my screen pop up. Thank you for sharing that, man. I'm never speechless, like hardly ever. But that piece right there, just left me speechless. Thank you, man. That was amazing. That was amazing. Definitely going to be listening to your album. So, in closing, we want to introduce our last artist, a phenomenal woman who I've had the pleasure to meet in the past before. Her name is Lauren Whitney. Lauren was born in Wichita, Kansas, and raised in Plano, Texas, in a predominantly white, affluent community. Identification and acceptance were consistently part of her journey as a Black girl and woman in the world she grew up in. Never being Black enough for the small Black community that existed in her all-white town, and never being white, and never being the white right color for the majority. In her formative years through high school, she was often the only Black kid in her class, understanding the complexity and disparity of both economic and educational access for people of color. Being afforded the opportunity to attend Howard University, she met many students that looked and were raised very similar to her. Yet amid mirroring beauty, she faced the outpour of poverty and miseducation surrounding the very university in which she stood. The economic, educational, and racial injustice she witnessed was suffocating. Although her life was sheltered, Lauren's parents worked hard to expose her to the disproportionate injustice in America and the world at large. Since a child, Lauren has continuously asked herself, how do I become a vehicle for change? Dr. Cornel West says, there's a difference between success and greatness. When one aims for success, they aim for personal satisfaction. When one aims for greatness, they aim to reach or teach someone. So today, Lauren follows her deepest calling. As Oprah Winfrey says, your calling is what you feel. It is your life force, the thing that gives you juice, the thing that you're supposed to do, and nobody can tell you what that is. Lauren Whitney's life force is for the stories, the hearts, the voice of the people, and the thirst for healing worldwide. Lauren Whitney is the founder of Authentic Voices Global Incorporated, a platform built on storytelling, community, and social change, highlighting the audacity of real people daring to make change no matter how small or big their communities with hope and inspiration. Educating through the art of storytelling, creating an ongoing conversation to ignite authentic change, she is a vehicle for that change and a platform for everyday people. My life story and experiences are the art of my craft and fuel for impactful change. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Lauren Whitney.
Ask yourself,
I'm asking you to.
when did my baby become a threat to you?
When I cried. When I started to crawl. When I started to speak. When I started to run.
When I started to dream.
When I laughed for joy. When I played with my toy gun.
When I learned to read. When my jeans were too baggy.
When I wore a hoodie.
When I drove a car.
When I left the library late from studying.
When I protect my family.
When you need jail cells filled.
When I'm less than perfect.
When I went for a run.
When I went to the store.
When I fought for your country.
When I held my arms and my hands high.
When I finally earned my degree.
When I loved with my heart and soul.
When I sat enjoying my coffee.
When I go for a job interview.
When the dictation of my speech was not like yours.
When white women become uncomfortable.
When I protested the injustice of the cage you built.
When I wear a mask to protect you and myself.
When I raise my voice.
When I move too fast. When I breathe.
When did my baby become a threat to you?
When I was born.
When did my baby become a threat to you?
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Bring with the harmonies of liberty.
Hello, everyone. Before I even begin, every time I watch that video, which I made, every time that I rise in the morning, I'm constantly reminded why I do what I do. And I'm going to steal a little saying from Director Stroy. Director Stroy says, "I'm holding all of you responsible." She has a little grandson. And that last little face that you saw in that video is my son. And so I'm holding you all responsible so that our young Black boys and brown boys can walk in a world free and safe and full in the audacity of who they were called to be. So as we wrap up this day of racial healing, I commend every single person who spoke, every poem that was shared, every word that was shared, every person that was on a panel. And today we must ask ourselves, how are we going to be healing in action? Through the Truth and Racial Healing Circles and the Truth Racial Healing Transformation Center, there's a principle that we work by. And when we come into group and we gather, that principle we ask ourselves is, can we enter into conversation with wonder? Can we listen and not be ready to respond? Can we move from a place of wonder? If eyes could see with wonder, simply I wish. See, daily people race, move fast-paced to destinations unknown. We do not know them. We do not know their story. No, we do not know where they are from. But to wonder, who are you and what has your life been? What happened to you? If eyes could watch with wonder. We give them history and family and problems, create the day as in mind's eye it played. We do not know who they are, yet we fabricate the quilt and we piece together playing judge. The stories become real that are conceived, okay? The stories conceived become real, but not truth. They are not truth. We do not know their story. See, our stories are walls that build a home, housing joy and pain, protecting peace and providing warmth, storing trauma and carrying rituals and covering culture. And brick by brick, our stories build walls, looking both alike and different, built on perpendicular streets. Next door neighbor. Wait a minute, do I know you? Do I know you? Okay, what is your name and how was your day? Where are you from and why are you crying? What do you fear? Hands up, don't move, stop. I will protect you. See, eyes see. I know you. Yes, I know you. If eyes could watch with wonder, simply I wish we took time to say hello, cross paths, share paths, took time to share journeys. Let us journey, sit at the intersectionalities, placing the connections, right? Embrace the differences, piece together the puzzle, appreciating the complexities of colors and hues. Who? You. Breathe in the aromas of culture. Understand the repetitious rhythms of history, making his story and her story. The history of destruction cries for deconstructing, pleads for reconstructing. Hello, hello, we matter. We matter. Hear the melodies of tongues. Breathe breath into the world, healing our lands, hand in hand, moving in rhyme, and just say hello. Simply, I wish. Say hello. I wish we could, because if we could, see, I'd write a book full of our stories, fused together by the same binding, pages glued together to heal, sandwiched between a front cover of love and a back cover of respect. No page left behind, each page bridging the next. The in-between would be full of honor and self-discovery and identified identity. See, these are our stories. These are our stories. Imprints of families and life journeys, roads crossed, roads that cross, oceans traveled, oceans that travel to bordering lands, connecting borders, boundaries that are broken, faith, faith that heals, and hope. Whew, there would be a lot of hope. Simply, I wish. This is my wish, my son. I want you to know there is nothing you can't do, my beautiful Black boy. You were created to move mountains, stand on top of them, and change lives. You may be seen, no, you will be seen for the color of your skin. And know this, your brown skin, my dear boy, is resilient. It is captivating and admired, smooth, unmatchable. It is both holy and sacred, okay? It is treasured and bold, breath-giving, intentional. And you, my phenomenal boy, are unapologetically here to make life better and brighter. Mommy loves you. And I commit to making this world better for you. You. Your mere presence embodies healing in action. Your actions, my actions, our actions. Our actions are bricks to this story, creating walls and building homes. But let us take our bricks that house us. Let us knock down the walls of division and let us build a bridge. Yes. Yes. Remember this. Bricks may be used to build a wall, but let us use our bricks to build a bridge that connects us all. This is my wish.
As I watched this evening, I find honor in every single person who spoke, every single person who poured out, and I am honored to be a part of a movement, to be a part of transformation. And I want to thank all of them for sharing their authentic selves. And before we close out, I would like for all of them to join me just for a brief conversation to talk about their pieces, their motivation, their stories. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I always find such joy in the spoken word aspect of our day. But before we close out, I just want to ask all of you to speak about, just to share a little bit about your pieces. And so I have a question. The ability to synthesize the complexities of being human, the complexities of the issues in the world. Can you share with us what is your process? Because I'm listening, looking at the comments in the chat, every single one of you moved us. And like you, Tyreek, I'm rarely ever speechless, but I was speechless this evening. Can you share with us the process that you're able to create, whether it's a video, a spoken word, that is able to draw us all in? Because that says something about your life, that you're able to use the lens that you sit from in the complicated complexities of our lives, of this world. And as we can see, 2 years of COVID and the racial unreckoning that this country is going through. What is your process when we talk about healing in action? And John, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I think as I referred in my piece, a lot of my life I was confused, just never really fit in. And that may have just been my insecurity. It may just be, growing up in a world that is centered in whiteness, patriarchy, and heteronormativity. And in my work at Oregon State, a lot of times I work in career development. And a lot of this work is really rooted in confidence and faith, in getting students, helping them to understand and appreciate where they come from and the value of our stories. And so for me, it's really in the last 2-3 years been a journey of finding confidence in myself and having faith in my story and my voice. And my goal, my work is really to help students not have to wait as damn long as I did to realize their gifts, to realize their voice. And so a lot of this is rooted in authenticity and knowing who you are and valuing your gifts and your strengths. And so it's been a life's journey for me, and it continues to be a life journey to support other students in the realization of their voice.
Thank you. Anya, college student, charity initiatives at 5. Share with us your process, your motivation.
Absolutely. I really relate to what Jonathan said about that authenticity. I think that a lot of times it gets easy, especially for young people nowadays, to get caught up in whatever is deemed culturally appropriate or culturally popular. And I'm someone that got involved in activism and organizing way before it was considered cool, way before it was considered trendy. And to be someone now who's grown into it and who's, been alive to witness it become culturally acceptable, it's been really interesting, but it's also taught me a lot about that difference between genuine intention and opportunism, everywhere from the smallest performative activists on social media all the way up into higher politics. And it's helped me view the way that I create and the way that I voice my opinions about issues. It's taught me how to do that differently, and it's also really broadened my horizons in terms of how I view the people that I've met over the past year that were doing it when they were as young as I was. And of course, back then we didn't have as many ways to connect with each other, like with social media and all these things. But it brought me so much peace and inspiration to know that while I was, up in here thinking that I was by myself, I'm like, I'm the only kid that's like trying to talk about the old people stuff. And it's so crazy to know that there was someone else doing the same exact thing on another coast or in another state. And now they're my friends just by happenstance and by the grace of God. So those things and the experiences that I've had through those, crossing paths with so many amazing people, that's what really fuels my creative process. And being a part of a community like the HLC is so like mind blowing, because I would have never thought that I would find a place where you could step into one room and find 60 people that have all these amazing, ambitious views on what the world could be and what they want to see their name on, and these foundations and nonprofits and businesses, and they all have such diverse backgrounds. It's just so beautiful. So all of those things have really blessed me, and I'm really grateful to have been exposed to so many of those great things. And I don't think I would be the creative that I am today if I hadn't met all of these amazing people. So yeah.
Thank you, Anna. Chino, your process.
So I'm kind of like Anya a little bit. I just feel like it has to be authentic. That's the biggest part of it for me. The piece that I performed, "Who Am I?" It was originally 2 poems. The first poem, it was a finished piece I had for class, and the second poem I was really struggling on a way to tie in the healing and reparations and stuff of that nature. So I was sitting in the car driving a couple of days ago with my dad. We're going down the parkway, and it just hits me, and I start boom, boom when it starts coming out, and that's natural. You can't fake that. It comes out now. I take out my phone, start typing. So that's how I got my second piece, and then I put them together to make one. But stuff like that, that's authentic. You can't fake those things. And that just ties me into my next point, that if you're really doing this just because you want to and you have a passion for it, it doesn't matter who's watching. It could be 0 viewers right now, and I still perform because I know I have a passion for this. Not just the writing poems and performing, but just social justice in general. So whatever you have in life, whatever passions you have, it could be anything: sports, music, art. If you can sit in a room with nobody there and no fans, no viewers, nobody clapping, and still do it and still perform at a high level, I think that's a passion. So I just want to put that out there and let you guys know that since we're all here, and I feel like all of us had that inside of us, that if no one was watching today, we would still be performing. So I feel like I'm just blessed to be in this circle right now, performing in front of this group. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chino. Ebony.
So like he said, it's an honor to be here. One thing that y'all all mentioned is the fact that this world in itself, even though it's so real, is filled with so much other stuff that we have to fight through so much being as counted as other. And I think this goes with racially healing ourselves first before we do the work. Because how can we fight with pain? And that's something, even when Jonathan talks about Martin Luther King, he couldn't fight with so much pain, even being attacked. And I think this is why poetry for me has been an outlet. And when I wrote the poem poetry, pain open enough to reconsider you. A lot of times, like Anna said, older people had to go through the fact that they suffered so much, where their youth was now what they should have done in their youth was taken away from them. So right now, people like me, people like Tyreek, people like all of us here are still fighting to let other people like us who are our age know and understand that this is real. This is not something that is just on Instagram, that's just a hashtag. This is not something that you can turn off and on like a light switch. This is something that for people who are counted as other has to live with every day. And I feel like when Director Stroy and when Miss Whitney talk about, just their children and how they're fighting literally to make sure that tomorrow they don't have to deal with this. I find that my fight has been so that my brother, my younger brother doesn't have to deal with this. He's a person who's not like me. I grew up in a family where you do this, you help the community. My father had 12 siblings, so it was a hand helping hand. So this wasn't new to me. This wasn't strange to me. But when you get into a society where it's like a dog eat dog world and thinking that we're actually getting somewhere, that's when, we have the real problem. The biggest problem that we have is that we can't walk in love. And I hate to be to be the person to talk about God or whatever, but that's what my business is based off, and that's just who I am. But the greatest commandment was to love one another. Right. So as we sit here and we're thinking we're getting somewhere just trying to reach and raise bars, I feel like we're moving when we're not even healed yet.
Yeah.
When we are truly healed. And I think this is what racially being healed is all about. When we're truly healed, we can then move in that avenue of love to change lives, to be completely altered, so that we can alter the minds of people who have been brainwashed for years. Because it's a generational thing. So for me personally, poetry has definitely been an outlet for me to express it. A lot of the times, Ebony can't be the one picketing signs and can't be the one first, because my mental health doesn't do that. But when it comes to doing the work with girls and changing the mindset and helping the homeless and different things of that nature, that community base is what I know, what I'm so used to, and what I find joy into. So I feel like our first step into being racially healed and going about that process to do that is, for one, find that healing within yourself and then move in the avenue of love. And my healing has been poetry. So I'm blessed to have found it and everything like that. So that's just my, response.
Thank you. Tyreek, I have to put a pin here. I've been honored to be a witness to the transformation in his life from when he started as an undergrad student. And one of the things that we would talk about, and he would always talk about it, that the things that he would say that was said to him, he said, so I'm not crazy, that what I am perceiving is real. Yes, Black man, what you are perceiving is real. So it's been an honor to watch and be a witness. I'm just a front row, like I got a free ticket to the orchestra rolls seat of his life, and I'm grateful for my ticket, and I always hold on to it so I can stay there. And so I just want to put this out there for this young man who hosted this event tonight, and watching him in this space of spoken word. Tyreek, your process.
Thank you, Director Stroy, and thank you for giving me a front row seat in your life and having the opportunity to learn so much. Like I always talk about my process, and And I no longer want to say that I suffer from survivor guilt, right? However, I am a survivor, right? But I don't suffer from it, and I recognize it. So for me, it wasn't until like being incarcerated that I began to understand how race is really, really real. Um, and in many spaces for me, although I was oppressed because of how I looked, being biracial, being small in stature, being light skinned, I was afforded the opportunity, right, even to have access to certain things that a lot of my brothers and sisters didn't have access to. And this is why I always talk about the residual effect of it, right? You know, like I can say the same exact thing, and because playing sports gave me access to like decent education, and I can say something that someone bigger and blacker than me they can say, and they'd be like, and it'll look different, right? I've always been granted the benefit of the doubt. I've always been humanized because of my story. I can be someone's grandkid, someone's son. He just made a mistake. I've always been redeemable, and I begin to watch how many of our men and people suffer in these spaces, institutions, definitely in the prison system, definitely in the education system, because of how they look and because they didn't have access to some of the things. So in my piece, I like to tell our stories. Um, and and one of the reasons why, you know, I can be authentic, right? I go so hard is in Dean Escaline's class, you know, she's the dean of HLOC. She's like my mentor. She's amazing. She shared a quote. She said, to remain silent when you see injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. And studying race and studying all these things and knowing that 100, 200 years ago, we couldn't even do this. I wouldn't even have access to you. We couldn't even learn, like we couldn't even read, we couldn't write, we couldn't do none of those things. And I ask myself now that I am a black man, although I'm oppressed and still suffer from a lot of things, I am privileged, right? And what would it look like if Nat Turner, Rosa Parks, and I don't even want to just give specific, I'll just say our ancestors, right, didn't fight, right? So I can't remain silent. This is why I was surprised I was speechless. I can't remain silent because if I remain silent, I have chosen the side of the oppressor. And knowing when me and you always talk, we talk about humanizing others. I know what my people, specifically what our people have been through, and the residual effect of that, right? Is a response until how some behaviors and labels and stigmas are there. I can't be quiet. And this is why I tell the truth, because you always want to look at the why, right? Not what's being done, the why. And because I've been given the opportunity to have the platform, I just want to tell the truth, you know, and stand up because I was once considered irredeemable, right? But you know, when you throw education around a black man, doors open up. So that's my process.
Lauren, I'm still speechless about the video. I'm still speechless. So you just talk about your process because I still speechless.
You know, it's so interesting because I feel like my journey into this work was an interesting one. And before I found myself being a voice for change, all I wanted to be was an actress. And it never sat all the way with me. I went to Howard, I went on to get my master's from Cal Arts, and I always knew there was something more, and I didn't know what more looked like. And when I had my son, my voice got silent, and I no longer knew who I was. And I was trapped behind a door full of fear, literally in fear, did not want to drive in the car alone with my son. And had terrible postpartum anxiety, but really the fear of raising a Black boy in this world. And when that door started to open and I started to make my way out, I was like, how do I make this world safe? And that video that was made, it came out of the murder of George Floyd. And there was no process. It was my ears being attuned to hearing God because my heart was in distress. And I said, I can't take this anymore. And I just began to write. And I called friends and I said, I need you to record this line. I need you to record this line. I need you to record this. And I just put it out there. I had no idea who it would reach. But what I did know is that I could no longer hold that pain alone. And maybe in some ways, like that's a similar process to some of the work as an actor. You find yourself connecting to certain stories. And I've always been connected to personal narrative and story. And that's where Authentic Voices Global came from, because I really do believe that there is power in personal narrative. I believe that we all have a story, no matter how big, no matter how small. And if we can begin to see with eyes of wonder, it's not about, Dr. Gabor Mate says, it is not what's wrong with you. It's what happened to you. And if we can begin to ask people, what happened to you? I guarantee you we would find ourselves on a lot of roads that cross. And just maybe that's where some healing can begin, when we realize we're not so different from one another. It's been an absolute blessing to listen to each and every one of you. And I have to say, Director Story, that the other reason why I do what I do and my process now is to get as many millions of dollars in the bank so I can make sure that there is space for Chino and for Ebony and for Anya and for Tyreek and for every other brown and black and non-brown and black bodies that want to bring change, that there is space for you, that you never have to worry about how and where, that there is space. And I love that each and every one of you have had the audacity to step up and say, I will use my voice. And I promise you, whether you have seen it yet, your history in your life is evidence of your destiny. Go back, check your history. That line in my poem, that bricks can be used to build a wall. Let us use our bricks to build a bridge that connects us all. I wrote that 5 years ago. My son was 4 months. And I pulled that one line out of my head. And that's where God took me. That was evidence of destiny. You guys, so now you guys are my part of my process, is to make space for you.
I want to thank all of you. I shared with Lauren the reason and my motivation for the work that I do as the director of the Truth, Racial Healing and Transformation Center. Born and raised in the city of Newark, educated in the city of Newark, non-traditional college student. In the middle of my first semester returning to school at 28 years old is when my third child was born. In the middle of the semester, meaning I didn't take any time off. And then I realized that as I was raising my children a particular way, who do they play with? Who do they marry? Who do they associate themselves with? And it was at that moment I realized that it wasn't just about my daughter and my 2 sons. It was about the community, that the choices, who are they going to marry? So I've spent the last 30 years in higher education, mentoring, advising to hundreds of people that was sent into my office or placed on my journey to move them to their greatness. 4 years ago, I was fortunate to be appointed the director of this center. And I don't think I've found more purpose in my life than to create space for everyone and to help people understand that just because I'm different doesn't mean that I'm a threat. But there's something that we all have in common, and it is our humanity. And that is the goal of the Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation framework. It's not about race, because race is a construct. It's not about power. It's not about privilege. It is about humanity. That when you see me or my son or my grandson walk into a room, you don't hear your bias kick in. You don't pay attention to what the media says. You listen to his story. On behalf of the advisory committee, which Tyreek in this next generation is a part of, I want to thank all of our participants today for engaging in our National Day of Racial Healing. But this day ends here. However, from until the February 11th, please follow us on our social media channels, on our Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. You'll get a chance to watch artists, racial healing circles, programming that will continue until February 11th. And the thing that I want to say as a call to action, and Lauren, thank you, for this next year, the team at TRHT at Rutgers University, Newark, will be developing programming specifically for the voices of Black and brown men. We want to create spaces for them to speak about relationships, about religion, about faith, about economics. What does it mean to walk in this construct? Because I always say black and white are colors in a crown box. And walk in this construct of black and brown. And so be on the lookout for our programming for the next year about the voices of the marginalized. And we welcome our Caucasian, Latino, Mediterranean brothers and sisters to join in this conversation, because we all have to heal in action together. That's where the impact comes, and that's how we integrate. It's not just in one community, it's in all communities. So to Anya, J Soul, Ebony, Chino, Lauren, and Tyreek, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to give a special thank you to my behind the scenes person, Antonia McClammy, my production manager, who has been my ride or die since our early days of TRHT. Antonia, thank you. Thank you to all who have watched and participated. Please follow us if you're interested in joining this movement, because it is a movement. Get on the train, because the train is leaving the station. Good night. Be safe. Be safe. COVID is real. Mask or unmask, vaccine or unvaccinated. Be safe. Have a great evening, and thank you.